Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Bruce, from Radicalex Games, bringing you another episode of Buried. Now, it turns out this game actually automatically saves after every chapter you complete. I just clicked on the game and it started me up right here, which is very nice of this game to do that for me because the chapters are severely long. And I will be changing up the way I do these videos. It will actually be one chapter an episode, so we're gonna go on to chapter 3 and see where that brings us. So here we go, chapter 3. Boom. Alright, let's get my reading voice in. Ooh, this looks tacky. Okay. We follow Marcus into what I can only describe as a control room of sorts. There are countless computer screens, some of which are obviously coming back on from having been shut off. Everything looks extremely complicated. From screens filled with code and data to what is obviously a security system, it reminds me of a miniaturized version of the operations center in just about every space travel movie I've ever seen. Marcus is running from one screen to another, apparently looking for some pertinent bit of information. "Where's the first aid kit?" I snap at him. Marcus stops in his tracks as if he has forgotten the whole reason for bringing us down here. "Oh yeah," he says, rushing to the left side of the room. There he hunkers down by an open panel on the wall, what I assume is the emergency vault from where he got the rifle. Ah, boy. Peer into the open vault, He might be getting a gun. I peer over Marcus's shoulder into the vault he's opened. It's much larger than it looks from the outside. It's partially filled with file folders marked classified, a few rounds of ammo for the rifle, a peculiar plastic kit filled with syringes, and a locked black box. As Marcus digs around, one of the folders slips open. For the split second it's open, I see a scanned document and a color photo. The photo shows a male corpse with its guts on the outside of its body, as if it was been turned inside out. There is also massive swelling on its head, almost like the skull is about to explode. Marcus slaps the folder closed, and then I turn my attention to one of the syringes. It's filled with a violet-colored fluid that, while rather pretty in color, looks deadly. Marcus finally pulls out the first aid kit and turns around. When I look back to motion Dennis over, he's paler than ever. "Come on," I tell him. But he's not moving from the place on the floor where he sits against the wall. I slide the first aid kit over to him and go scrambling to his side. Between the struggle for the rifle upstairs and arriving in this room, he's faded fast. I struggle to lift his shirt up and then over his shoulders as the dried blood holds it in place. The mere act causes him to grimace. "This might hurt a little," I tell Dennis. He only nods. He doesn't seem to care. Rip shirt off quickly. Gotta go quick because, gotta move. Time is of the essence. Figuring that the old rip off the band-aid metaphor applies here, I tear the shirt off quickly. Plus, I don't feel like we exactly have a lot of time. Dennis lets out a scream of pain and fury. "What the hell, man?" "Sorry," I say, casting the bloody shirt aside for the moment. Wincing in pain, he leans back against the wall and takes a series of deep breaths. His wound is more visible now, although it's partially hidden by the blood that has started to clot around it. My medical knowledge is slim. Basically just a bunch of basics I learned in Boy Scouts. I look over to Marcus, hopefully, and ask, "You have any training?" "Zero," he says. "Sorry." It's just as well, I guess. He's far too concerned with what's happening on the monitors to be much help anyway. I start by taking out the several rolls of gauze within the kit and wipe as much blood as I can away from the wound on his side. It's even worse than I had figured from the start. The gash is deep and dark. I'm pretty sure it's infected too. He's going to need stitches, that's for sure. But I have no idea how to even start that. Besides, I don't see the tools for it in the kit. His eyes are locked. When I splash rubbing alcohol over the wound, he responds with a hoarse yelp of surprise, but nothing more. His eyes are locked on me and he looks appreciative, but he's also scared. "Be honest," Dennis says hopefully. "How bad does it look? You think I'll live?" Yeah, Good to know, he says. Because I sure don't feel like that. You've been through hell, I say. I think it feels worse than it actually looks. Thanks. That's a relief. I won't lie, you're going to have a scar, I say, trying to be funny. He chuckles a bit, but there's no humor in it. He rests his head against the wall and closes his eyes as I finish up. I place one layer of gauze against the wound and bind it with medical tape. I then reinforce it with a second layer. I know it's meager, but it's all I can do. Thanks, Roger, he says, actually managing to force out a smile. I feel a lot better. I think I'll be fine. I'm not sure about that, but I'm glad I was able to encourage him. Finally, I patch up the bruises on my head a bit, cursing myself again for not grabbing my hard hat. Stop making me feel like an asshole! I look back at Marcus, and he is looking back at us, deep in thought. My eye is starting to really swell up from where he kicked me earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have let him off so easy. Are these first aid kits all you have in this facility? I ask him. If there's something better, I don't know about it, he says. I notice then that his defensive posture is no longer there. Something is different now, just a slight change to his demeanor. He's seen something on those monitors that has him frightened, more than he already was before. What is it? I ask. What's wrong? His eyes travel around the room, and it's obvious that he's trying to decide whether or not to tell me the truth. I'm gonna look at the monitors, because he's not gonna tell me anything. He hasn't told me anything this whole time. Rather than wait for him, I get up and scan the screens behind him, seeing if I can find any clues I had missed a moment ago. After a few moments, I see a few things that even I can comprehend hidden in the complex information on most of the screens. On one screen, I see what looks like a power meter that is slowly climbing upwards. A single message is flashing beneath it. It reads, "Unexpected power failure, foreign entity." Another message trickling along the bottom of a black screen says, "Safety locks on level 3, containment doors engaged. Override?" I see still scenes on a few other screens that I assume are security cameras showing hallways and passages from elsewhere in this facility. One of them shows the first level hallway we were just on a few moments ago. Another shows a hallway I don't recognize. The floor is covered in blood. From just off the screen, I see what I think might be a human body, but it's bent in an impossible way. It looks like the body's legs and torso have somehow been merged or melted into the floor. Oh my god, I know I said this in the last episode, that this is very Lovecraftian. Just, it's a foreign entity that we can't comprehend, but during this whole, another thing about Lovecraft is the thought of knowledge, our quest for knowledge could be our ultimate downfall. This is showing that. I mean, this character I'm playing as, Roger, wants to learn more about this creature, whatever it is down here, what's going on, and it is ultimately going to lead to my own downfall. My own curiosity is going to kill me. So that's very optimistic. Okay. What happened to that person there? I have no idea. I didn't see it, he says. Whatever happened to that guy must have happened in just the last minute or so. What the hell, I ask. There's something still happening? Are we still in danger? He turns away, clearly fearing he has already said too much. And as bad as that is, there's a scene on another monitor that makes my blood go cold and my fears spike to levels somewhere near terror. The scene is very familiar. It's the logging site. The equipment is unmistakably mine. I can even see my truck. Something like fury starts to rise up in my guts, momentarily pushing aside the fear. For a moment, I consider just tearing into him, a few punches and a shove against the wall, nothing more. I want answers, and I want them now, but I'm not sure which would provide more answers, asking calmly or kicking his ass. Question calmly, I guess, because kicking his ass is going to lead to him shooting me, probably. Could you please explain to me why you've been spying on my crew? My anger is prodding at me, and I have to hold it back again. It's near the surface, demanding a release. It was part of my job. Mine and a few others. Your crew has been watched ever since you set up your equipment. Why? Because you're working with heavy equipment, some of which digs into the ground less than a mile from the secret government facility. I had no idea of that, I say. How could I have known? Marcus gives me that same crooked, trembling smile that is beginning to creep me out. Because those things would draw attention to this place, he says. You have no idea how secretive this facility is. Besides, I know that the higher-ups looked into it. Your site isn't on government land. It's shy, but about 300 yards. Every piece of your equipment is on private property. The timber tract that you purchased from Mr. Gladstone 2 months ago. So even if we wanted to intervene and keep your crew away, we couldn't have without stirring up a fuss. The fact that someone with such a low-level clearance knows this much about my logging crew is unnerving. If you've been watching us, why didn't you recognize us when we met in the hallway? I ask. He shakes his head and exhales, like it's obvious. The cameras have a bird's eye view. I can't see faces. We just track bodies and names. There we go. Look, Marcus says, all of you were on site as usual before the incident. It had been a few hours since I had checked, though. I can tell he is starting to get rattled by this interrogation. He continues with his eyes fixed on the keyboard. They might have come near the facility, or maybe not. I don't know. I'd tell you if I did, okay? Well, are they inside the facility? I shout. You have cameras everywhere, right? Look for them. Marcus puts his hands up defensively. I've been looking all over. I haven't seen your crew. But, he adds, the lower levels don't have any cameras. Classified. I'm not sure how they would have gotten there, but it's a possibility. I'm still shocked that we were being watched. Do they know everything about us? I'm telling you, Marcus says. The depth of influence in this facility goes deep. There are 36 employees down here. Outside of these employees, only 5 other people know this place exists. What do all these people do here? I ask, keeping my voice level. He doesn't even pause to consider if he should go any further. He actually laughs when he gives me the answer. I honestly don't know everything. Probably very little. But what I do know is that it is more than Black Ops. What does that mean? I ask. There are scientists here who have been disowned by their own governments because of the nature of their work. You get it now? I don't. Not at all. But I don't want him to know about that. You said there were 36 employees, I say. Where are they now? He shakes his head. As far as I know, everyone else is gone. Gone where? He points to the screen that still informs us of the unexpected power failure and cringes. If this power failure was not corrected in time, there's no telling. But they're here in the facility somewhere, right? I ask, hoping someone will be able to help Dennis better than I can. I just don't know, Marcus says. They could be anywhere. Look, I say, furious with the way he's talking in riddles. I don't... Ah, God, Dennis says. I look over to him and he looks as pale as a ghost. He stood up and his eyes are locked on the monitor closest to him. What, I ask? He simply points to the monitor and then looks away. I look at the monitor and see the logging site. But more specifically, I see the overturned bulldozer and Tony's crushed body several feet away from it, where I'd pulled him out. Tony. The fact of his death seems abstract almost, like it happened in some other world or very long a time ago. I know that you already told me this. He is gone, Dennis whispers, but it's different actually seeing him. My God. Suddenly something blazes by the open door outside. The shape is fast and in shadow, but I am pretty sure it's a person. Someone else is here, Marcus says, wheeling around. He sounds very happy to discover this, so I try to follow his lead. If something bad happened at this facility, then surely the sight of another survivor is a good thing, right? We should check it out, he says. I realize this isn't the best moment to leave Dennis after revisiting Tony's death all over again. Someone just ran by the door, I tell him. Hopefully it's someone who can help us. It's fine. See who it is, he says, giving me a mock thumbs up. I turn to Marcus and motion for us to head out to investigate. Let's be careful, Marcus says. Depending on who it is, they might not be as hesitant to shoot a stranger as I was. I nod at him as I head for the door. I'm still holding the rifle in my hand, and I don't know if I have the guts to actually use it if needed. With a final look back to Dennis, I run out into the second-level hallway. This is such an incredible thing. I really do enjoy this game. I enjoy the choose-your-own-story aspect of this game, in fact. And just a lot of things combining make this game really unique and awesome. Marcus follows. There is still fear in his eyes, but also the slightest glimmer of hope. That hope is contagious. We take off after the figure that just ran past the command center. Ahead of us, the facility presents yet another long hallway. Right away, I notice that this level of the facility seems darker, even though the lights are now all on. The hallway was adorned with numbered yellow doorways and large white panels along the walls. It's clean and well maintained, but there's something ominous about it. Up ahead, I see the fleeting motion of something dark cutting quickly to the left down a corridor. There, I say quietly, pointing up ahead. Marcus gives a nod and we continue chasing after the person we saw blazed by the command center just moments ago. It then occurs to me that this person could be like Marcus was at first, armed and scared. Move towards them slowly. When we reach the intersection in the hall where I'd seen the shadow moving, I ease around the corner just in case. Sure, I have the rifle in my hands, but I don't want to use it unless I have to. I quickly dart around the corner and take the same shooting stance I've seen countless times on TV. There's a woman standing there, about 10 feet away. She has reddish blonde hair and a small, mousy build. She looks terrified and is visibly shaking. She's probably in her late 30s, wearing a lab coat with dark jeans and green Converse low tops. I have a strange sense that her fear is not just about our sudden appearance. She looks like a woman who's been running scared for a while now. Her hands are raised in surrender. She's not holding a weapon. Marcus slowly approaches, taking a few steps ahead of me. It's Amy, right? He asks. She blinks, seemingly surprised that he knows her name. Yes, she says. And you're Mark. Marcus. She nods absently and then looks up to my rifle. How do I know that? She asks. You're trespassing on government property in the midst of a huge catastrophic event, and you have a rifle. How am I supposed to believe you? I have a friend back in the command center who needs medical attention, I say. And we're looking for the rest of our crew. I'm really sorry, but I don't know where they are, she says. Do you know what's happened? Marcus asked. From the power outage. I don't know what caused it, she says. But there was an experiment taking place, and when the outage occurred, something happened and... She trails off here, giving me a look of distrust. I saw some things on the security monitors, Marcus says. The experiment failed, didn't it? I don't know the specifics, Amy says. I barely escaped the 3rd floor. I was going to the command center to see if the security footage showed anything, but then I saw you in the gun. Listening to their conversation, I'm feeling totally in the dark. Yeah. Amy looks at me, her eyes wide and terrified. Who are you anyway? She asks. I quickly give her my story. A logger stranded in the woods followed a peculiar explosion at the logging site. As I tell her, recognition blooms in her face. You're one of the loggers. Yes. She then looks to Marcus and says, I thought they were being watched. They were, Marcus says. This was a freak accident, and there's no proof that they were responsible. I feel myself waiting to submit to all of the questions that are piling up in my head, but Dennis is waiting for me. I decide that despite my curiosity, I need to get Dennis help as soon as humanly possible. Look, is there any medical help to be had here or not? I ask. Probably, Amy says. But you'd have to find Colonel Barksdale. He knows where all of those sorts of supplies are. And where is he? Where is everyone else? I ask. At this, Amy starts to weep. She falls to her knees as if someone had struck her from behind.
Gone, she says. Some were killed, some were just... I don't know. They disappeared right in front of me.
What?
Yes, she answers. They were gone. They were here 1 second and gone the next. Just...
She snaps her fingers together for effect.
Gone. Something's here with us, Amy says. We were conducting an experiment and it all went horribly wrong. Something came through.
Came through what? Marcus asks.
I don't even know what that much. An entity, but whatever it is, it's still here somewhere, Amy responds.
How could you not know? Don't you have full security access, I ask?
No, I have access to almost everything, but there are 2 levels of security beyond my clearance.
So, what do you suggest we do now? I ask.
I'm not sure, she says, with wiping her tears away. But if you want to find your crew, we need to find Barksdale. He's in charge.
Where is he? I ask.
Down on the 3rd level, in the hangar.
Then let's go, I say.
It's not that easy, Amy says,
Again looking to the rifle in my hands. Why not?
Like I said, something came through when the power went out. There's several of them, all roaming the 3rd level. Here we go. What came through? All I know is that the others refer to them as entities.
Amy shudders as she recalls the horrors she has seen.
I don't even know how to describe them. I didn't get a good look, she says. All I did was run for my life. Behind me, I just heard screams. I know it's not very scientific of me, but I didn't feel like sticking around to learn more.
She's right, Marcus says, stopping my train of thought. The things I saw on the monitors, it was crazy. This is crazy, I bark. I'm going to the 3rd level to find this Barksdale guy. Thanks for your help. Wait, Marcus said. I'm sticking with you. If we want to get out of here, we have to find Barksdale, right?
Yes, Amy says, but Barksdale's on the 3rd floor, and it's too dangerous to go back there.
I figure I'll let them make their own decisions. In the meantime, I start heading back to the command center to get Dennis. Before I get there, I hear their footfalls behind me, getting closer. I give Amy a questioning look, and she quickly looks away, clearly torn.
Neither one of you know your way around here, she says. Looking for Barksdale on your own would be suicide.
Like it or not, she has a point. Fine, I say. Now let's get Dennis from the command center and head back down together.
Ooh, Dennis. Dennis, please be alive. Ooh, Dennis.
We enter the command center, and I'm happy to see that Dennis has regained some of his color. Oh, thank God. We're going to get you some help, I tell him. And then we're going to find our crew and get the hell out of here.
More help would be great, he says. With the way you ripped off my shirt earlier, I'm not letting you touch me again. Wait, Amy says. Maybe one of you should stay here with him. I'll be okay, Dennis says.
He stands to his feet with a grunt.
You don't know what's out there, Amy says. I saw them. I saw what they can do. This facility is not safe. I'm not sure, she says. But they are down on the 3rd floor, so we'll need to be careful.
Marcus looks a little hesitant, but he nods his agreement, and the 4 of us exit the command center. Heading back out into the hallway, I look back to the monitors. I take a final look at the screen that shows my wrecked longing sight and feel a pang of sorrow. Then I look to the other monitors, showing live feeds of the facility's security cameras. I try to tell myself that I'm not looking for any sign of Amy's creatures, but I can't. That's exactly what I'm doing, and there's no need to pretend otherwise. We head back through the hall and towards the elevator. The tension exists between us is like a physical presence. Wow.
Oh my God. I want to know. See, the thing about this is it doesn't show you what they look like.
We step inside the elevator and those pristine doors close. Inside the elevator, Amy seems to become much more guarded and distant from us. I want to assure her that I mean her no harm, but I'm also not going to put the rifle down. So you have a pretty high clearance in this place, right? I ask her.
That's right.
So what kind of experiment are we talking about? What went wrong? When she starts to answer the question, I can tell that it is something of a relief for her to get some of it off her chest.
There's been a lot of work on a project taking place here over the last 3 years or so. The purpose is to find out if there is any real viable science behind point-to-point what the fuck? Instantiation.
Like teleporting? I ask. Oh my god, Marcus says. I had no idea. I knew there was some weird stuff here, but nothing this insane.
It's really not all that insane, Amy says. We found our first major breakthrough about 9 months ago. We were able to transport a live rat from its cage on level 3 to a small lab in New Mexico. The trip took the rat 5 seconds.
Are you kidding me? Dennis says. I can tell that he wants to sound as if he is mocking the idea, but he fails. He is scared.
Not at all, Amy says. The problem was that when the rat arrived, its retinas were detached and its intestines were on the outside of its body.
Oof. Yeah. I think I've heard about this, actually. This might be an actual thing.
Well, about 6 months ago, we successfully made the same experiment. The rat arrived in great health, and this time in just 3 seconds. Still, one of the things that we needed to tweak in order to make the process completely safe was how to figure out how to keep the subject on a straight course. When the matter is being transported, not only are its atoms being unknit and then put back together upon arrival. ... Yes, deconstructed and translated through space. It's the only way we know how to do it right now. But the issue, as I said, comes in keeping the disconstructed subject on a straight course to its destination. When the process occurs, we are deforming space-time. We are creating a shortcut through space, and that has risks.
Why exactly? Dennis asks.
Because there are many more dimensions in space than the 3 we exist on. She explains. There's some evidence that there are as many as 10.
So when you send the rats from New Mexico, it's traveling through another dimension to get there, I ask.
Basically, and because of that, we are trying to get a better understanding of what those other dimensions are capable of. Things that a great deal of the population would be scared of if they knew what we were doing, hence all the privacy. Then today the power went out. The power went out as we were right in the middle of an experiment. Something happened. What, I don't know.
She's speaking with the authority of someone who knows what she is talking about. What have you seen in these dimensions?
Other worlds, other Tegmark universes, where our laws of nature don't apply,
she says, not bothering to explain what that means.
I'm not cleared for such things, but I do get the reports.
What reports? Marcus asks.
I'm given access to the results of the tests.
In other words, Marcus replies, clearly upset, you guys have been peeking into other dimensions and taking notes on what you see.
I can't believe I've wasted my life.
I can't believe I wasted my life for this, he murmurs to himself. He looks like he's starting to freak out. Amy is quiet. Her expression indicates that she's waiting to see how I react to all this. So this is like interdimensional stuff, I ask.
In a way,
Amy answers. Marcus, on the other hand, is incredulous. I don't want anything to do with this, he says. All this time, I've been working for... He laughs cruelly, and the sounds of it makes my blood go cold for a moment. Just a single level beneath my feet. You assholes have been tearing apart space and time, Marcus continues. When the elevator doors open, I can't get out fast enough. The tension is growing way too thick for my liking. Outside of the elevator, we step out into what appears to be a massive industrial area. The carnage waiting for us is unlike anything I'd seen in the upper levels. We're gonna keep going. Okay. The area looks industrial, like everything was built for utility only. But more noticeable than that is all of the blood. My God, I have never seen so much blood. Those creatures must have had a field day. Holy shit, Marcus says, looking like a man that just awoke from a very bad dream. There were more personnel in this area when the experiment went haywire. Whoa, Amy says, as if the explanation makes it all better. The research you all do down here had better be worth it, I say. We have to get moving, or we're going to lose our nerve. Amy, let's focus. Barksdale is in the hangar, I ask. If he's still alive, yeah.
If he's still alive, yes. Where he'll be. That's where he'll be.
Then let's hurry, I say. As far as I can tell, Dennis is doing much better, but I am beginning to grow tired of trying to keep my fear at bay. Between the blood on the floor, the silence of level 3, and Amy's talk of the lab rats, I'm getting freaked out. I'll go first, stay behind me. The four of us start walking ahead with me in the lead. We stop walking when we come to the remains of what looks to be 3 different people. It is hard to tell how many bodies here were because they've been torn to shreds and or distorted. 2 of the bodies look as if they had been fused together. Another man looks to have had his leg welded through the floor. I can see this man's face. He died in an abject state of horror, his mouth pried open in the eternal scream.
Why not? Let's investigate.
I see half a face pushed down onto the floor like putty, barely attached to a separated skull. A single dead eye stares at me. I think I'm gonna puke. Behind me, Marcus does just that. As I listen to him heaving, my eyes cannot leave the carnage. There's blood everywhere, a crimson pool flooding the floor. There are hunks of skin and tissue splattered on the wall, and a strand of unspooled intestine that clings to the floor like a dead snake. Dennis steps up beside me, and when he speaks, his voice is soft and flat.
What the hell could do something like this?
He asks.
The things I saw,
Amy answers.
They could do it pretty easily, I think.
She looks pale, and I think that she may pass out at any moment. Tears spill from her eyes as she is visibly shaking, but she soldiers on, looking back to me and stepping to the side of the gruesome carnage. Her eye is again to my rifle, and she doesn't look very hopeful.
You good to me? You good to go? She asks me.
We need to move on, but for some reason I can't take my eyes off the scene. My mind is reeling, trying to process it all. We leave the grisly sight behind, moving into another equally destroyed area. From what I can tell, the next room was once an open area for experimentation. The place hasn't just been destroyed. It has been physically altered in a way that makes no sense. The girders look to have been warped, their very materials distorted and twisted. To my right, a machine has been catapulted and looks to have somehow merged with the well rather than crashing into it. Beyond these phenomena, there is the standard violence I was expecting to see. There's a limp arm sticking out from underneath the wreckage, and more blood. I see no signs of an explosion, which makes me wonder just how this happened. Seeing the aftermath is sickening enough, but it makes me wonder if Amy saw it while it was happening.
I only caught a glimpse of it, she says, taking a deep breath. I was closest to the exit, so I just started running. But it was like trying to focus your eye on something that was too close. People's bodies just started twisting and turning. And the thing that did this, it looked like...
She doesn't finish. She's cut off by some sound echoing through the facility. It comes from behind us and slightly to the right. I'm not sure what it is, but it makes my blood feel like ice. It sounds like static from an AM radio, but there is a high-pitched noise beneath it, and I can't even start to fathom. What the hell is that? I ask, instantly clapping my hands to my ears.
One of them,
Amy says, her voice a whisper.
One of the creatures. That's what they sound like?
Dennis asks. I see that he's leaning against the wall again, wincing at the noise. I suddenly realize that I have a death grip on the rifle, ready to shoot at the next thing I see. How far away do you think they are? How far away do you think they are?
About 100 meters,
she says,
not far.
Everyone seems to take this as the cue to start moving again. We make our way around the office wreckage, now with new purpose in our step. We barely make it to the other side of the room, approaching a dark hallway, when another high-pitched noise sounds out. This one is louder, closer. We all share a terrified look, and I can tell that Amy is on the verge of losing it. I grip the rifle tightly as we head towards the hallway in front of us.
I don't know, Amy says.
Dennis speaks up, his voice like ice.
Then let's haul ass, huh?
No one says anything after that, but I can feel the presence of terror around us, pressing in on us like some new violent gravity.
Ooh, man, it's getting really intense. Wow, this is a really long chapter. Okay.
The small utility hallway is well lit. It looks as if it was designed to only be used by select maintenance workers. What goes on in this area, I ask. I'm looking at Marcus as I ask the question, but he only shrugs in response. She might know, he replies, pointing to Amy. I've never been down here before.
It's just a utility hallway, Amy says. But at the end there is a maintenance room. There should be a gun or two in there. It's also the most direct path to the hangar entrance.
As we walk quickly and quietly down the hall, I take a glimpse ahead to feel the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. The lights become more sparsely spaced, and it's impossible to see how far the hall extends into the darkness. This hallway has the occasional trace of bloodshed, but nothing like the main area we've come from. We continue farther down just as I begin to see what looks like a large metal door further ahead. I hear yet another shrill sound. This one sounds farther away, but no less demonic.
How many of these things did you see?
Dennis asks Amy.
3. But that's just what I saw. There could be more.
What did they look like? Dennis asks. Yeah, what are we dealing with?
I don't even know how to explain them, she says. Monsters. That's the only word I can think of. My mind seemed to struggle just trying to understand what I was seeing. They're big and they seem to jerk around every few feet or so. They look like they're made of light. That's about all I know for sure. You know, my ex-husband always said I'd let my work kill me, she continues, seeming unable to stop herself. I mean, I doubt he imagined this exact scenario, but still.
As we make our way to the hangar doors, another high-pitched noise rings out, angrier now. Amy stops walking, causing all of us to stop and turn to her.
We have to do something to slow those things down, she says.
No, Marcus snaps. There's no time. We need to distance ourselves to get to the hangar fast.
Amy ignores him, deep in thought. There's an old hydraulic door set into the wall right here, she says. It hasn't been used for years though.
She looks to me, pleading her case.
Together we might be able to pull it closed behind us and keep those things back.
Those old hydraulic doors weigh a ton, Marcus says. There's no way it'll work.
Roger, Amy says. What do you think? They'll have a harder time getting to us if those doors are locked.
Look, Marcus shouts, turning to me. We need to get to the hangar now.
If we close the door, that means that it'll be harder for them to get to us. But how do we know that? Oh shit.
Damn it, Marcus says. We don't have time for this. Amy ignores him and starts feeling along the hallway wall for a groove. Dennis and I start looking as well. A minute passes when I see a small metal frame that runs from the floor to the ceiling. Is that it? I ask.
Yes,
Amy says. I look to the floor and see an old metal track that runs along the frame. Let's move it, I say. Amy, Dennis, and I start pulling as hard as we can, but it barely budges an inch. Behind us, that static noise rings out again. My heart seems to stutter as Marcus lets out a little whine. We're running out of time. We need to go, Marcus screams. Those things are getting closer every second. It won't make a difference, he says. Shut up and help us, and then we'll help find out. I shout. Reluctantly, Marcus walks over and grasps the door. We all groan as we strain to pull. It starts inching slowly and then begins moving steadily. Once we get it started, it slides easily. As we near the wall, closing off the hallway behind us, I think I can see the merest glimpse of an odd illuminated shape in the darkness. It's cut off by the slightest slight thump of the hydraulic door, then being pushed against the frame of the opposite wall. Amy turns to lock into place. Great, now let's haul ass, says Marcus. We all turn and get moving again, still feeling unsure about our prospects. The fact that yet another shrill noise sounds out elsewhere in the facility is not calming. And then there are two of them. It's almost like they're calling out to one another. The doors to the hangar sit up ahead like the entrance to some enormous labyrinth. No, that's not it. Oh my god. Holy shit, this is a long one. Like, I'm starting to kind of lose my voice a little. When we reach the hangar doors, I get a true sense of how impenetrable they are. A computer terminal is mounted on the wall nearby and has a blinking red light. Any idea what this means, I ask. It's an automatic lock. A failsafe from the lockdown, she said. Says Amy. I've never been down here before, Marcus says. If I had known this door was here, I would have opened it earlier. How? Amy asks. The fear in her voice is more present than ever. From the command center, he says. You need to override from there first, then use this terminal to open the hangar doors. The command center on the second floor, I ask? Yeah. Amy shakes her head and lets out a nervous laugh. Are you kidding me? She asks. We just pulled the hydraulic door and blocked off the hallway, remember? If we have to get into the hangar, we have to get back to the command center, Marcus says. Isn't there another way? Turning to Marcus, Amy replies, well, there is another elevator, but we'll need to go back through the biochem storage. Oh, Jesus Christ. I need to stay with Dennis so he can rest, I say. You two go. You know your way around this place, and you know that you can have the controls, Marcus. Fine, Marcus says, but we'll need to be armed. Jesus Christ. You know what? Give Marcus the gun. I feel Amy would be too scared. I don't know. Amy just seems very timid. I hand Marcus the rifle, and he turns to go. Amy gives me a concerned look, but follows along behind him. Once Amy and Marcus make it a good distance down the hallway, Dennis lets out a nervous laugh. And then there were two, he says. Dennis looks much better, but he still needs to use the wall to stay standing. Didn't Amy say that there were guns and emergency kits in the maintenance room near the hangar doors? I ask. Yeah, I think so, Dennis says, looking exhausted. I look ahead and see a door to the right that reads maintenance. Might as well give it a try. I go to the door, try to open it, find it's locked. Push with your shoulders. Don't kick it down, because that will make noise. I give it a hard shove, but it doesn't budge. I'm about to try again, but that's when I hear the dry choking sound from just down the hallway. It's barely audible, but it is not my imagination. My first thought is that it's one of the things, one of the monsters. But after calming my nerves and reassessing, it sounds more like a person. I think about how angry and on edge Amy was when she turned to leave, as well as how scared Marcus had looked. Alarm bells sound in my head before I know it, and I'm heading back down the hall, away from the hangar doors. Stay here, I'll be right back, I whisper over my shoulder to Dennis. See if you can figure out how to get into that maintenance room. Where are you going? He asks. I don't bother answering him as I bound through the door where Amy and Marcus went. I really needed that. Whoa. As I enter the biochem room and start walking between the massive silos, I wonder what classified chemicals could be inside of them. I am fully expecting one of Amy's creatures to come flying out from the intersection of halls up ahead. I think I hear something. A skittering noise, like something moving quickly. I run ahead so fast that I almost trip over two people in a life or death struggle. My mind tries to process what I'm seeing, but it makes no sense, none at all. Marcus is on the floor with Amy pinned beneath him. He has his rifle at her throat, pushing her down to the floor and choking her with it. Her face is turning purple and her eyes look like they might pop out of her head. Marcus sees me coming out of the hallway, but acts as if what he is doing is perfectly normal. Whoa. I start rushing towards him before I really know what I'm doing. I bring my fist down in a hard arc across the bridge of his nose, and I am rewarded with a sick cracking sound. He cries out as he falls to the ground, looking at me as if he doesn't understand why I punched him. On the floor, Amy clutches her neck and gasps for breath. I start to fear that I was a moment too late, just as I see that the rifle has been thrown across the floor. Marcus seems to notice this at the exact same time that I do. I deliver a surprisingly strong blow with my right hand, clipping his chin from my awkward position. I'm in the process of planting a knee into his chest to hold him down when his left foot comes out of nowhere, landing hard. The kick catches me squarely in my ribs, knocking the breath out of me. "Well, what the hell are you doing?" he yells at me. "By killing her, I'm saving us. All of this was her fault." I sense that he truly believes this, but if that's the case, then why not? Just shoot her rather than strangle her with a rifle. The answer is simple. We would have heard the gunshot, and I or those things would have come running. He wanted to kill her quietly, and then what? Would he have done the same to Dennis and me? It seems fitting, really. When we first came upon Marcus, he'd held a gun on us. I'd been so relieved to see another human being that I had underestimated just how unhinged he was. Marcus and I both dive for the rifle, still laying on the floor, and start wrestling for position, but I'm not confident I will come away with it. As we struggle, he starts inching the muzzle of the gun towards my face, a position I do not want to be in. I start pushing back hard, but if this thing accidentally fires, I'm not sure where I'd prefer the bullet to go, especially in this room full of chemical tanks. I grunt as I push the muzzle to point towards his face, realizing he is literally looking down the barrel of a gun. Marcus ducks his head out of the way. This makes him lose leverage, allowing me to yank the gun from his grip. I get to my feet as quickly as I can, swinging the rifle back around on him. For a moment I think I've knocked him out, but his eyes flutter and he looks at me as if I've betrayed him. "Her people," he says. "It was them that did this. She deserves to die. She did this." I look at Amy and I wish I could help her. I'm relieved to see that she is managing to draw in a few breaths. Her legs move as she tries to push herself into a sitting position. "You wouldn't know," Marcus says. "You didn't work here under their secrecy. You don't know what it was like to." He surprises me by lunging towards me, leaping from the floor like a human projectile. I don't have time to aim carefully. I have to react fast. I try to dodge. His aim is poor and his strength is failing, so I dodge him easily. I don't want to have a gunshot go off and alert those creatures to where we are. Make a hard jab of the butt of the rifle, striking him in the chest. Something crunches and he lets out a whoosh of air. He crumples for a moment and then goes to his knees. He roars in pain on the floor. Only after a few moments I realize that they were not purely screams of pain. The bastard is calling for them, calling for those creatures to come for us. "This place is evil along with everyone involved," he wails from the floor. "If you are taking her side, then you deserve to die too. If you want to stop me, you'd better do it now, you coward." The rage in his eyes at Amy as well as towards me for stopping him makes me think that he'll deliver on his threat. I raise the rifle again, every urge in my body wanting to make sure he doesn't come back to bite us. But I am not a violent man. I could easily not kill him and just leave him behind. God, this is bad. I shouldn't have done that. Just like when I could barely shoot earlier as he was coming at me, I can't bring myself to deliver a kill shot. I ignore him and lean down to Amy. "You okay?" I ask. She nods slowly. "I have to go," she says, her voice raspy. "They'll be here any minute. Too much noise." I have to hold her arm so she can get to her feet. We start forward and then I think of Dennis. "We should go back to the hangar doors," I say. "I can't just leave Dennis there." "There's no time," Amy says. "You need to come with me up to the command center now. We'll be back for him soon." You're all dead now anyway," Marcus shrieks. "If they don't get you, I will." He laughs maniacally after saying this, hooting like a madman. As if in response, a high-pitched noise tears through the hallway. I seem to feel it in my bones. They're following his noise now, Amy says, her voice still weak. She takes off away from Marcus, presumably towards the other elevator she had mentioned moments ago. I follow her. As we move out, I hear Marcus slowly push himself off the ground and stumble off, slipping in between the tanks and disappearing. We start running, and after the first few strides, another noise sounds out. It sounds mechanical, but at the same time, it also reminds me of recordings I've heard of whale songs. A sound of metallic creaking and crashing echoes through the door I came in through. They've reached the hydraulic door we pulled, Amy says, confirming what I'm thinking. The sound grows louder as it's clear they're struggling with it, which is good. We have a bit more time. I speed up my step to follow Amy as she leads the way to the other elevator. She's panting furiously, but pushes on. I can hear something rattling in her breath, likely the result of Marcus's attack. This makes the image of how his cold, uncaring eyes must have looked, staring down at her as he tried to deliver her to death. How is she still forging on is beyond me. I'm sorry about Marcus, I say. It's not your fault, she interrupts. When you handed him the gun, you didn't know he would use it on me. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. I'm not so sure, she says, her eyes fixed straight ahead. I'm not sure I can blame her. I just wanted to say something encouraging, I guess. We finally come to the elevator at the end of the row of silos. The elevator doors slide open slowly. At that moment, we hear something behind us. A strangled sort of whistling sound. We step inside and turn around to face the biochem room. Thankful, we've been given a few moments to spare. The elevator doors remain open for 3 seconds before they start to slide closed again. In those 3 seconds, I see a large shape floating towards us. A phosphorescent-like white glow outlines an impossible shape. Behind it, I see another shape that's also entered the biochem room, and another. The third one breaks away from the other two, taking a quick right. It moved with eerie speed. That is the direction Marcus had gone. Honestly, the thought of them hunting him down doesn't bother me in the slightest. Amy is presenting the button to close the elevator doors over and over, but they stay open for what seems like eternity. I curse whoever designed these damn doors. Oh boy. Amy and I slide ourselves up against the sides of the elevator, trying to avoid being seen, but I can't help peeking around the corner. Why would I do that? I hold the rifle steady, ready to fire, and that's when I see them in the clear light for the first time. I can see their features, their shape and their colors, but my mind can't quite process it all. Nothing about them makes any sense. My eyes try to see a squid, but that's not what these things are. They're gray and white and seem to be nothing more than squirming light. Their appendages are neither legs nor tentacles, but somewhere in between. They don't walk on these appendages, but use them to glide. They move like ghosts and seem to jerk every few feet or so. But I am pretty sure that this jerking effect is not the result of their moving, but my mind's inability to understand how they are moving exactly. It's also more than their appearance that makes a mockery of reality. The light around them seems to bend inward, as if the space within the room has to reshape itself for their existence. That particular effect on the air makes their movement seem like something moving underwater, only faster. They screech in unison as they rush towards the elevator. They'll be inside here in another few seconds. I check the rifle and see that my ammo is diminishing. I have to start saving my shots. I'm going to have to be choosy. I didn't shoot anything! I'm gonna have to. Now about a foot remains between the sliding doors. I find my muscles reacting instinctively again. I pull the trigger. The shot fills the elevator and there is thunder in my ears. I hit the thing in its center and the reaction is not what I expect. The monster pauses and spasms for about 2 seconds. Its body light flickers up for a moment, similar to a light bulb on the brink of burning out. My finger keeps pulling the trigger. The throb of the rifle in my hands is comforting, and each screech from the creature's like music. But then I realize that this only seems to be slowing it down. Its tentacles seem to tighten and then loosen like a weird muscle reflex. But then it's on the move again, unharmed by the shots. Finally, the elevator door closes. The creatures wash against the other side of the door, making an electrical noise and crying out in anger. The tips of their spider-like appendages poke through the wall and elevator door, but for some reason they can't get all the way through. Amy screams at this and curls into a ball in the far corner of the elevator, crying. I say nothing to her. I just cling to the rifle, hoping those creatures don't find Dennis as he waits by the hangar doors where I left him. For his sake and ours, we need to get them open now. End chapter 3. So this was awesome. Oh my god, that was a really cool chapter. I really enjoy this game. I really do. I enjoy the idea. I enjoy actually being able to do my narrations again, like I used to back in. I think along with Franbo and Silver Creek Falls. It's so weird to have silence now and just hear myself. I sound a lot loud. I don't know if this is as loud as I've been, but I feel as if, yeah, I'm really loud right now. But no, this is really awesome. I really enjoy this game. I enjoy this game immensely. And like I said, I enjoy being able to do the voices for reading again. It's something that I used to do in a lot of my older videos, like for Franbo, for Silver Creek Falls, and something that was that people seem to like actually. And I don't know why I stopped doing it. It's just as time went on, I just stopped doing it. And I kind of lessened it, but no, it's something I enjoy doing. Okay, let's read my stats here. So 15% of players told Dennis he'd probably be fine. 35% sided with Amy on pulling the hydraulic door. 31% players gave Marcus the gun. I shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have. I really should have thought that one through. 58% of players left Marcus alive. Okay. 32 of players used your ammo and took extra shots at the creatures. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to start chapter 4. I'm done for the day. That is episode 2 right there. Boom, boom. I mean, just that one chapter equaled my last episode, which was 2 chapters. What the shit? But anyway, with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And if you haven't done so yet, hit the subscribe button. And stay tuned, because I'm going to keep playing this. And so you're going to want to watch more of this and enjoy the story and see where it goes from here. I mean, it's getting really intense. I mean, me and Amy are now off in the command center. Poor Dennis is left back at the hangar. Hopefully he's alive. But yeah, so stay tuned for more of Buried. And with that all being said, stay radical, my radicals. See